So I just want to start by asking you, what is your reaction, your honest, unfiltered reaction to your termination today?
Yeah. Look, I knew the job that I signed up for when I first moved to Austin 5 years ago. It's not uncommon for a manager and a council to reevaluate their working relationship, and this is just one other example of how that happened here in Austin.
But personally, though, I mean, you've worked for the city for 5 years. You've made, a tremendous investment in the community as a citizen, but also as the city manager. There's got to be some feeling of hurt or sting, I would imagine.
Yeah, I love this city, and that's not going to change. And I think the way in which we need to move forward as an organization and as a city is important. And so I'm committed to ensuring that that happens.
When you look back over the past 14 days or longer since we've had the ice storm, obviously there has been criticism about the city's response. As you have had a moment now to sort of review the city's response, what is your opinion about how the city performed?
Yeah, well, I've certainly apologized in the past around how we could have done better and that our utility infrastructure and our communications needed to improve. And after every response of a storm, we know that we can work on things that will make the next one go even better. What's characterized my tenure in Austin has been a sequence of unprecedented events. When I first came on board, there was the bomber that severely impacted our community, the Colorado River flooding. We had Winter Storm Uri and now Winter Storm Mara, and of course the pandemic. These are all catastrophic, unprecedented events that our community has never faced before. We learn from each one, we get stronger from each one, but I know that even in this most recent winter storm, we will learn from this and get better going forward.
Do you have a difficulty metabolizing the fact that the city council 2 months ago gave you a significant raise, about a 12% raise, $38,000, and 2 months later are firing you?
Yeah, again, my job is on the line every day, and so I know that in this profession, I have to ensure that I'm accountable to our elected officials, and that does change over time. And so to answer your question, I'm not surprised because with new mayor, new council, those relationships may differ, and I need to ensure that I'm doing everything I can to reestablish those relationships going forward.
The term scapegoat has been used by some to describe the events of today. I mean, do you personally feel like you have been scapegoated here?
No. Again, I hold myself accountable for the actions of our city. I want to make sure that the council members and the mayor hold me accountable, but I don't believe that I'm a scapegoat.
When you look over your entire term, your entire tenure here, the 5 years, you describe kind of evolving crises that have happened. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about what you see as some of your successes as well.
Well, we certainly have a booming economy, and I am so proud of how our economic engine of this city has continued to grow over these 5 years. I am incredibly impressed that we have been able to make the investments in our infrastructure over the years as well, particularly in transit and roads and bridges, kind of the core functions of city government. We've also kept a tight eye on our pocketbooks and ensuring that we have that fiscal responsibility going forward. So the budgets that we presented, the way that we provide services. But at the end of the day, I'm most proud of how our city employees over and over again provided those critical services to our community. We have amazing ways in which the city of Austin serves this community through our parks, through our libraries, our public safety. These are critical things that do provide those day-to-day services, and each and every day our staff goes above and beyond, even in light of these unprecedented circumstances.
You've said before publicly that with climate change and other factors at play, but particularly climate change, that we as a city do have to become more prepared, but also more resilient. as we, within the past 2 years now, have had 2 historic weather events in the winter. Can you just speak to that?
As we know, this world is changing rapidly, and we see across the world different large-scale events that are happening. We need to be prepared here in Austin to be able to ensure the level of resilience that's expected given some of the unique situations that may occur. We've never seen these events, particularly in terms of climate change and weather, like we have. And if we're not hardening our own resources, our own infrastructure, but also hardening our community to be prepared themselves. We know that the city can only do so much, government can only do so much. It's going to be individuals and neighbors helping neighbors, and you know, if you're preparing for a hurricane, you know the 5 things that you need to do to prepare for that. Winter events in Austin are unique, and that's something that we haven't been prepared for. So we are learning the muscles, we are building the muscles to be able to prepare for some of these unique weather events in the future.
As you look back at the city's response from this particular event, do you have kind of a running list in your own mind? I wish I had, fill in the blank.
Yeah. Certainly, I think we can always get better at communication, and we've talked about that. I also wish that we would have been able to showcase for the entire community the destruction that this storm actually had. It's one thing to see out your window a tree that fell down, but it's another thing to see how that just devastated the entire area, the entire region, unlike any other place in Texas. And so to be able to demonstrate quickly to our community how important it was for everyone to be patient, because this is a hurricane ice storm, as it was described, and we need the patience and perseverance to be able to get through it and navigate the response.
I want to ask you specifically about Austin Energy's response, because as an agency that is in your purview and in your portfolio, I mean, were you disappointed with specifically Austin Energy's response?
I have the utmost faith in ensuring that they're going to do better going forward. I know that there are things that they've looked at in this past response that they're saying we can do this differently going forward, and I know that they will commit to making those changes in the future.
As you look to Austin's future as the outgoing chief executive for the city, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges, and in your estimation, in your opinion, what should the city do to meet those moments?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned the historic investments that we're making in our infrastructure. The immediate challenge that we're going to be looking at is how to endure the pain that will be caused by ripping up our roadways, I-35 through Project Connect. It's going to be hard for our community to be able to really have the patience to navigate through these important future thinking, future looking ways in which we're going to build for the next generation of Austinites. That's going to be critical to not only communicate what's happening, but how our community can prepare for those construction and disruption.
So as you leave this building tomorrow, just some kind of closing thoughts about how you will walk out. Will you walk out disappointed? Will you walk out relieved? What will
I will walk out incredibly proud of the work that we have done over the last 5 years. I have amazing staff that have gone above and beyond throughout my tenure. We have an incredible list of accomplishments that I am so proud to be able to list. And I also am proud that we are more resilient as a community going forward. I know that this is a special place. I love Austin. I've raised my 2 girls now here in Austin. I'm going to stay in Austin, and this is just, I've been honored to serve as a city manager, and I will ensure that the transition of the next city manager goes as smooth as possible.